Hey my friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. It's time for a Mow Down, the last Mow Down of 2016, where I take the most outlandish comments, the ones that really get my attention, and I roast them, I toast them, and I mow them down. Alright my friends, here we go. Now as always, this is unscripted, this is completely unrehearsed. I'm just reading off my notes here and sort of responding to these comments the way you might when you read them yourselves. First one is on our Cars I'd Buy 2016, the Roundup video, where I took all of the test drives and the cars that made it to my I'd Buy list, and I sort of went down the list and put it all together in one big pretty package. Lick My Nuts, that's the guy's name. Starting out the video really good here. His comment is, I guess this guy only reviews cars for poor people. What about a Porsche 911 Turbo S, Mercedes S63 AMG sedan, Range Rover autobiography, etc.? Look, I don't know what you think is rich and poor, but we had a Range Rover, Audi Q7. There were quite a few vehicles, you know, a Toyota Land Cruiser. These are all vehicles that are approaching $100,000. So I'm not sure what you consider poor. I don't know too many poor people driving those vehicles I just mentioned. Now that said, I'd love to test drive some of these vehicles, but I have to point out the fact that we're based in Phoenix, Arizona. We're a third-tier market when it comes to how big our press car fleet is. And so basically what that means is we don't have access to some of the same types of vehicles you're going to find in the Los Angeles press fleet, Detroit, New York, and some of those larger markets where the automakers have a bigger budget to spend to send vehicles out here. We've got a very small pool of journalists here in Arizona, so we're lucky to get what we've got. And I got to tell you, we actually get a very good variety of vehicles, a lot of vehicles from Mercedes-Benz, Porsche not so much, but Bentley sends vehicles out here occasionally, Audi, BMW as well. So we do get a lot of good vehicles, but just because they didn't make them to the I'd Buy list doesn't mean I'm catering to poor people. Anyway, next up is from Jack D. Ladd. On the same video, the Cars I'd Buy, he says, I hope the marketing people at Ford is watching this. Improper grammar, Jack. Sometimes your list is overladen with the usual suspects based on your mostly partisan reviews, because I'm partisan. I'm a brand loyalist, right? Not. Anyway, he goes on to say that Ford ought not be inviting me to any more media days for test drives and things like that. Look, and he went on and on and on about how I have no taste and, you know, how I'm partisan, how I just, it's the usual suspects. Look, the bottom line is the buy it list is based on cars that we get to test for a week. And sort of based on that last comment, it's purely sourced from what we get to test drive for a week. So if a car maker wants to have a car on the I Buy It list, they need to send it to us. Ford does send us vehicles, and we tested a Mustang, we tested an F-150, and a couple other vehicles in 2016, but you know, they just didn't make the cut. And the I Buy It list is purely one of, I like it, you know, it's a car I like, that I buy it, I spend my own money on it. It doesn't mean that it's a competition between all the other cars and it has to do with specs and pricing and things like that. It pushed my funny buttons and I liked it. And so, yeah, you know, there were a lot of Chevrolets and a lot of other brands on my I Buy It list this year, and not very many, if any, Fords. And that's because, well, for a lot of reasons, but one thing, just a little secret, I like interiors that don't rattle. Now, I'm not saying the Ford's rattled, but that's just a little hint to give you an idea as to, well, you know how I make my choices. Now, the next one, the 2017 Toyota 86. Now, this is a car that got a revised engine for 2017, in addition to the styling. BRZ Tommy says, all of the FA20 motors are manufactured in a Subaru plant and shipped to Toyota for the Scion or Toyota branding. Only thing new about the 2017 Manual 6 is the aluminum intake plenum on the engine. The automatic ships with the old intake plenum. You better stay away from those Subaru motors that are shipped to Toyota. BRZ Tommy, by your name, I suggest you maybe own one of these cars, or you might have an affinity for them. do your homework, man. This engine is far more than a plenum. It's got different heads, different valves, different cam, different intake, also different exhaust. It's got a completely different tune to it. Horsepower is not that much different, but it's far more than an intake plenum on the engine. The second thing is they're shipping it from a Subaru plant to Toyota. Well, let me let you in on something here. Subaru and Toyota, they're a little bit, you know, kind of hooked up. They've been hooking up for a while. If you spend any time in either one of their cars, you're going to find a lot of things that are pretty similar under the hood. Radios that are the same, parts, pieces, switchgear. These are companies that have been doing the nasty for a while, and these cars aren't really like one brand sharing with the other. They're family, if you know what I'm saying, okay? So I don't really think you have to worry about staying away from anything, because whether you get a Subaru or a Toyota, you're in the same ballpark, you're playing the same game. Okay, just do some homework, folks, before you go commenting about things like that. Now, next one, face-off, F-150 5-liter V8 versus the Chevrolet Silverado 5.3 V8. Now, I mentioned the whole long title there because it really doesn't matter, because this guy's comment was, anyone ever told you that you look like Jason Kidd, the NBA player? Yeah, once or twice a week that happens, actually. And, you know, he's a lot better at playing basketball than I am. And boy, you know, I think I might be a little bit better looking. At least I think I look younger. But yeah, I do get that a lot. And Walter from Walter White from that show, Breaking Bad, I've had a few people tell me that I look like that, maybe on a bad day. Anyway, the last comment here, 2017 Ford Escape SE test drive. Now, this particular gentleman, KO3 Sport, says, oh, I wish brands would stop putting paddle shifters on automatic cars. They serve no real purpose. And he just goes on and on to talk about how they're just garbage and what a waste of time they are. You know, I gotta be honest with you, I kind of agree with that sometimes, because paddle shifters have become sort of this marketing thing where if a car's got any sporting intentions at all, it's expected that it has paddle shifters. It's just expected. If it doesn't have them, then we point it out. We go, it doesn't have paddle shifters, the other guy has that. But I agree with the fact that with an automatic transmission, they're toys. They barely do anything substantial. They barely work. I mean, there's always a delay, up to a second or two delay sometimes, and sometimes they just won't do anything. If the computer does not want to let the transmission shift, it won't. You know, you can play with them all day long. It's not going to shift up or down. And you know, the thing is these things originally came from ultra high performance supercars that actually had you know, robotic manual transmissions, and that was how you shifted. And of course, with those, it's immediate. And what's ironic here is, out of all the cars that I did not expect to see paddle shifters in, I just tested it last week, was the Smart 4.2. The Smart car. It had paddle shifters in it, and dang it, if they weren't the best working paddle shifters I've driven in any car ever. I mean, they were immediate. Save for, well, the Nissan GTR as well. So there you go. There is the Mow Down for 2016. Now, I do want to point out something. We had a wonderful 2016, and that's all thanks to you, our viewers. And you guys are the ones that keep me busy every day. We started out with right around 20,000 subscribers at the beginning of 2016, and we're ending the year with 42,000, so we've doubled it. And so I hope that, you know, rolling into 2017, by this time next year, we can say we've doubled subscribership again, because I work very hard to make sure that we provide good reviews, good news, and I try to keep it entertaining sometimes too, because this is a lot of fun. It's a great job to have, and it is my full-time job. So what I'd like you to do is click right here and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're not already a subscriber. And if you like the Mow Down, click right there. You can see all of them, man. Stay tuned.